now that Captain Rogers and Iron Man are both gone, who do you think's gonna lead the Avengers?
I could lead them.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my new Eternals video all about Thanos because he is an Eternals character. He does descend from the Eternals, so I'll explain their connection. Marvel just released a brand new synopsis for the Eternals movie that more directly connects them to Thanos. Josh Brolin was also talking about coming back and doing new Thanos in MCU movies, and Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos, said that Marvel was also discussing doing more with Thanos in the MCU. So we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We have new Loki episodes starting next week. I'll be doing videos for all those, and we're doing a Disney Plus giveaway for memberships. So all you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and let me know what you want them to do with Thanos in the future Marvel movies. But if you missed it recently, right after they released the brand new Eternals trailer, Marvel also released some new merch that featured this new synopsis for the movie that changes the Eternals character's relationship with Thanos just a little bit. They've already changed the Eternals backstory for the movie, so I will explain some of those changes and why they made them, because some of them are bigger than others. But this brand new synopsis for the movie just reads, living on Saturn's moon, Titan, the Eternals protect Earth from the deviants and all other forms of cosmic evil. It's a very brief and very broad synopsis, but it claims that these Eternals lived on the same moon, Titan, that was Thanos' home before it was destroyed, as he explained during Avengers Infinity War. This was that scene.
Let me guess. Your home?
It was. And it was beautiful.
Remember, the fall of Titan was Thanos' whole motivation. He had been banished when he was much younger for his ideas, and it was while he was living in exile in another part of the universe that Titan eventually succumbed to the effects of overpopulation and destabilization. Thus, he then set on his quest to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet. But originally in the comics, the Eternals that came from Titan were just referred to as Titans, but genetically they were no different from the original Eternals characters. The first big change to the Eternals backstory in the Eternals movie is actually about the deviants, because we're talking about Thanos here, and he carries the deviants gene even though he's technically an Eternal. So this is why he looks like Purple Space Grimace with the nutsack chin. Originally, the deviants were this genetic offshoot of the original Eternals created by the Celestials. Jack Kirby just envisioned them as this monstrous, genetically deformed, villainous race that were always trying to subjugate humanity and kill the Eternals off. Sometimes you would have rogue Eternals like Druig who would try to exploit the deviants in their own plots to gain control over the Eternals and humans alike. When we get some more footage of the Eternals movie, I'll do separate videos about the different Eternals characters, because Druig, for example, is kind of the Loki of the family, kind of the black sheep. He doesn't agree with what the Eternals are doing on Earth. He thinks that they should rule over humans. But he is not the main villain of the movie. He's just one of the antagonists during the story. But the second big change that they're making in the Eternals movie is saying that these Eternals were created and then they came to planet Earth. And they're going with the ancient aliens explainer, is the way Kevin Feige explained it. The way that Ajax, Salma Hayek's character, talks in her voiceover in the trailer, they've watched over and guided humans. So I think it's a bit of a balance between those two concepts, the ancient aliens concepts. Like, they themselves didn't build all these complex structures, but they influenced humanity and helped teach them to do this themselves. But originally in the comics, the Eternals were created by the Celestials after the first Celestial host came to planet Earth to experiment with early Homo sapiens. And the really cool reason why they originally came to Earth in the first place is because they saw Odin and Agamotto, the same Agamotto who created the Time Stone, the Eye of Agamotto that Doctor Strange uses. They saw them and their ancient team of prehistoric Avengers kill one of the other Celestials. As the Celestial lay dying, just bleeding out its celestial blood rich with cosmic energy into the planet, it called out to the other Celestials, telling them to come and cleanse the planet, wipe them all out. So anytime a new group of Celestials comes to Earth, they call it a new Celestial host. So there's like a first Celestial host that creates the Eternals, then there's a second Celestial host that comes back, creates another big calamity, then a third, then a fourth. But originally, these Eternals characters in the movie, these main characters, are actually the children and grandchildren of the original ones that were created by the Celestials on Earth. And then they just intermarry, have children like regular humans, and these ones are born later. It's just that they have near infinite lifespans. They can still be killed by other Eternals or beings that are more powerful, like you have the Deviants that are about as powerful as the Eternals, but then you have Celestials, cosmic entities. the very powerful Avengers characters. But the idea is that when they die, at least in the comics, I don't know if they're going to do this in the movie, but they reincarnate using special technology created by the Celestials. So it just plays into the idea that they can be truly eternal. I'll explain why the Celestials give them the crazy long lifespans. It's all about the mission that they create the Eternals for. There is a purpose. They aren't just tinkering with life. They actually want them to do things, even though it's implied that these Eternals characters have free will. Technically they do, but they also kind of don't. But here's where these characters in the movie are connected to Thanos. So Thanos' father is a Large. They canonize that during Avengers Infinity War when he goes to Vormir and Red Skull basically tells him, Thanos, son of a Large. But his father was actually born on Earth millions of years ago. But Thanos' grandfather, Kronos, was one of the original Eternals, one of the first ones the Celestials created, one of the most powerful ones. And as the name implies, as you probably guessed, he's the inspiration for the mythological Greek Titan Kronos. Like all the Eternals characters in the movie are worshipped as gods by early humans because of their powers. So modern religions, mythologies are created around them. Mostly Greek mythology, but also other cultures around the planet. So through Kronos, Thanos is actually really closely related to Thena, Angelina Jolie's character in the movie. They're like first-second cousins. But within the MCU, Thena isn't really close with Thanos or anything like that. They haven't seen each other in thousands of years. And even during the actual Eternals movie, for the most part in present day, when Thanos was attacking the planet, the Eternals weren't around. I know a lot of people are still wondering about that. They didn't help out because they did not have their memories. They didn't realize that they were Eternals. They were just living amongst humans as if they were normal humans. They had families, they had normal jobs that they went to during the day. Because they have that Avengers Endgame tag scene during the trailer, they'll probably have some moments during the movie where they address this as they start to get their memories back. Like, oh, one of our kind, one of the other Eternals was responsible for all this destruction. But you could draw some parallels in the trailer in the way she wants to train humans to fight here in Mesopotamia, like they defend themselves against threats that might come, foreshadowing the eventual coming of Thanos someday, in the same way that they're kind of referencing Captain America's shield here with this star on the old shield and these guards. Like, see how the Eternals are connected to the Avengers in present day, how they influence them without the Avengers realizing it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, when they're training with the shields here, you see some moves that are similar to Captain America's moves. Some of you may have also noticed in the trailer that you also see what seems like the actual, original Captain America shield that Steve Rogers used before he got the vibranium one, here in Kingo's private plane when they're partying. Like, the Eternals are collecting all kinds of artifacts over the millennia, filling their spaceship other places, like all these other treasures from across the centuries that they've collected. You even see a PSVR sitting in the pile here, so obviously this is in present day when Makari is reading this book. But not all these other Eternals main characters are directly related to Thanos the way that Thena's character is. Like, I mean, technically they're all related in the way that they're all Eternals genetically, like in the way that all humans on planet Earth share genetic similarities. But in the comics you have these different pockets of Eternals living in different parts of the Earth that descend from different lines. So it's a little bit like the Black Panther movie in the way they explain the different tribes of Wakanda. Like, you have the main Panther tribe from whom all Black Panthers descend, the line of kings of Wakanda, but then you also have the Ape tribe, currently led by M'Baku, who follow very different traditions, slightly different culture over the centuries. The whole reason why Thanos wasn't born on Earth, though, like the other Eternals, is because a long time ago the Eternals had their own civil war over what their race should be doing on Earth. Some of them wanted to rule over humans, some of them thought that they should leave. After the war was over, a group of them did leave the planet to travel the stars. There were more subsequent wars that were fought, and eventually a group settled on Titan, and that's where Thanos' father came from. Met his mother, who was also from a different group of Eternals, and then they sort of fostered the society that became the Titan that Thanos is talking about during Avengers Infinity War. So for example, when Thanos talks about being banished from the planet, it was actually his father that banished him from the planet. And the really cool thing about Thanos is that as someone who is fully eternal, like he's 100% eternal DNA, he has all the benefits of being an Eternal, with none of the special programming built into him preventing him from fighting the Celestials. Like all the special celestial technology that the Eternals use to resurrect themselves, the exclusion zone where that happens that only they're allowed to enter, Thanos can actually enter that place. He can use the Eternal gates that they use to teleport around. They don't really cover this in any of the movies, but hopefully if they bring him back in some future movie, they'll have some Easter eggs for stuff like this. So this is the entire celestial host that they feature during the movie. This is Arishem the Judge, their leader, Nazar the Calculator, Hargan the Measurer, Jemiah the Analyzer, Eson the Searcher, which obviously we saw during the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and Nowhere, for example, the disembodied head of a dead Celestial. I know everyone's still wondering which Celestial it belongs to. There is actually an answer for that. So according to most theories, in some more recent comic books like Avengers Secret Wars, Nowhere is actually the head of Jemiah the Analyzer, because also in that first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, there's a building that they walk into that's named the Boot of Jemiah. That's probably an Easter egg that they would cover in the Eternals movies. That feels like a very Kevin Feige thing to do, like, see how we're connecting things to the modern MCU films, showing you the Celestial getting his head decapitated and it becoming Nowhere. But as for Thanos coming back in new movies, in Marvel Phase 4, Marvel Phase 5, I believe that there will only be small references and Easter eggs for Thanos in this first Eternals movie. Maybe in Eternals 2, Eternals 3, whatever sequel movies they do, then we'd see Thanos being born, or larger Thanos scenes. They could do a big flashback during Eternals sequels where they show you a big civil war that they fought amongst themselves with a group that then split off to develop their society on Titan, and then show Thanos being born during that. Then you also have the other major untold stories that they've teased, heavily involving Thanos, that take place closer to present day with adult versions of Thanos. Like the new origin of Nova inside the MCU. There was that whole deleted subplot at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War, showing Thanos going to Xandar to take the Power Stone, then destroying the planet. The writers of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame said that Richard Rider would have been a lone survivor and had a very Thor-like Stormbreaker revenge arc, and then would have come back for a small cameo scene as Nova in the final battle of Avengers Endgame. I did a couple videos about this a couple years ago. The Russos made some jokes about Nova in Avengers Endgame, claiming he was in there, but he's not. It was just meant to be a joke because they got rid of that subplot before they finished the movies.
Macho Man, Russo brothers, how do you guys not have any Nova Corp member in a fight against Thanos? Love the movie, but just boggles my mind. Didn't even have to be Richard Rider. I look closely at that scene again, and you will see.
There are thousands of people.
Yeah, you will see Richard Rider in the background of a shot. Easter egg.
Eventually, they will do a version of Nova in the movies in some form, and they could always use Thanos in flashback scenes for his origin story. But everyone, let me know in the comments what you want them to do with Thanos in the Eternals sequel movies, and what other Marvel movies you would want to see him cameo in. If there are any big questions you have about those characters or what's going on with the movie, just let me know in the comments below. I will do more Eternals videos as we get more footage and learn more about what's going on. All my Loki episodes will start posting next week, so make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss any of those. Click here for that Eternals Black Knight trailer video, and click here for that brand new Spider-Man No Way Home announcement that Marvel made about the future of the Spider-Man character. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.